When I gave up everything and prepared to fly to another country, my girlfriend, who was faking amnesia, warned me with a cold face. Please pack up your things. Move out of our house as soon as possible. My boyfriend is moving in very soon, and he'll get jealous if he sees you. I didn't even lift my head, only replying faintly, okay? She didn't have the slightest suspicion and just kept flexing her acting skills. Also, please stop falsely claiming to be my boyfriend. My boyfriend Sainian will be heartbroken. I paused for a second, then submissively nodded my head again. I didn't bother explaining to her that this time I changed my name to Wake Up and Study Abroad and wouldn't have a single shred of lingering attachment to her anymore. Since she loves acting so much, I'll just play along with her until the very end. After all, she wants to get rid of me too, so it's best we never see each other again. By the time I came out after changing my name, the sky was already dark. I hailed a cab and picked up my phone to search. Although the name change procedure for the plane ticket was submitted, it still required a 1-month review period. So I directly booked a ticket for the 1st of next month, flying to Melbourne. Then I replied to the study abroad agency accepting the offer. That night, I slept more peacefully than I had in the past month. Early the next morning, I got up and had breakfast, and then cleared out everything related to Su Mengyao. The gifts she gave me, the couple's outfits we bought together, and the love letters from our student days. I threw all of them into the trash can. While I was busy, a global limited edition sports car suddenly pulled up by the roadside. Hearing the sound, I turned around and saw Su Mengyao. She got out of the car, ostentatiously linking arms with a man. Even though she saw me, she didn't try to hide or avoid me. I knew the reason she didn't hide it at all was simply because she was completely sure that I would forgive everything she did during her amnesia period. From the very beginning, Su Mengyao refused to acknowledge my identity as her boyfriend, and even had people kick my things out of the villa. I originally thought I'd end up sleeping on the streets, but the owner next door suddenly contacted me, saying he was going abroad and rented it to me at the lowest price. I thought I got lucky back then, but looking at it now, it was just a play directed and acted out by her. She was afraid I would actually leave, so she used this method to make me stay. Recalling this past month of being deceived, I only found it laughable. I didn't care what kind of play she was going to act out today, so I turned around, lifted the last box, and dumped it into the trash can. Su Mengyao, who happened to be passing by, took a glance, and her face turned cold when she saw the things I threw away. Why did you throw all these things away? I glanced at her and said in a faint tone, don't you have amnesia? How do you still remember these things? Only then did Su Mengyao realize she had slipped up and quickly adjusted her expression, pretending not to care, just asking casually, how could I possibly remember? The past is the past, and the present is the present. Right now I only love Nian. After all, when I had that car accident in Nanzhou, he was the only one who came to take care of me. The car accident and even the amnesia were all an act. There was no car accident at all. The corners of my lips curled up slightly, and I looked sideways at the man holding her. His eyes were filled with pure smugness. A fresh face I'd never seen before. He was probably Su Mengyao's most satisfying bed partner during this period, which was why she brought him back with such a grand display. I didn't want to waste any more breath on her, so I just gave an turned around and went straight into the villa. Watching my back as I walked away without turning around, Su Mengyao's eyelids twitched. She brought a man back to test me. Shouldn't I be making a huge scene out of jealousy? Looking at my retreating back as I left without turning around, Su Mengyao's eyelids twitched. He brought someone back Xie, so shouldn't he make a huge scene out of jealousy? Why is he so calm? Su Mengyao realized something was off, but she didn't chase after me to explain, just watching me disappear behind the door. At 8 o'clock, the doorbell was suddenly rung aggressively. I put down the packing tape in my hand and got up to open the door. It was the man Su Mengyao had just brought back. He raised his hand and waved. Although there was a smile on his face, it didn't reach his eyes. Hello, my name is Nian. I'll probably be staying at my girlfriend's house for a while. Since we're neighbors, is it convenient to exchange contact info? No need, I rejected without a second thought, turning around to leave. Nian snatched the phone right out of my hand and quickly opened WeChat to add himself as a friend. Looking at my darkened face, he grinningly handed the phone back. His tone was extremely flippant. Just making a friend. We'll be seeing a lot of each other from now on. By the way, do you have any umbrellas at home? The ones we bought today are already used up. Mind borrowing me a few? A trace of paleness flashed across my face, and the hand that took back the phone trembled slightly. But Nian refused to drop it, the mockery in his eyes completely undisguised. I asked the wrong person. Mengyao doesn't even want you anymore. So how could you possibly have any? I knew he was intentionally provoking me, and didn't want to pay him any attention. I pulled the main door, getting ready to close it. Nian grabbed the doorknob and purposefully slumped onto the ground, his eyes instantly turning red. Brother, I know you don't want to see me, but I just came to borrow some seasoning to make dinner for Mengyao. If you won't lend it, then fine. But why did you have to get physical? Watching Nian suddenly pull off an act like this, my heart violently skipped a beat. Before I could even react, Su Mengyao, who had walked in from somewhere, rushed up the steps. She immediately helped him up to the side. She looked at me with cold eyes, a hint of suppressed rage in her tone. Sinian has no grudge against you, so why are you making trouble out of nothing? He is my boyfriend now, so please show him some respect. After dropping those words, she didn't even check my expression, supporting him as they walked straight away. Every single word fell heavily upon my ears, making me unconsciously clench my fists. I stared intently at their backs disappearing into the twilight, and with an expressionless face, I raised my hand. With a loud bang, the front door slammed shut. In the dead of night, the phone sitting on the nightstand started vibrating. Woken up by the noise, I instinctively pressed the answer button. The next second, the screen switched interfaces. Looking at those scandalous and unsightly scenes caught by the shaky, unsteady camera, I was instantly wide awake. Realizing what the person on the other end of the line was doing, my entire body froze up like a statue. In the end, unable to take it anymore, I pressed the hang up button. Those eyes that were blurry with sleep a moment ago were now completely bloodshot. For the next few days, I stayed behind locked doors, not going out until the day of my best bud's wedding. Only then did I pull myself together and head out. Arriving at the hotel, taking advantage of the fact that the wedding hadn't started yet, I presented the gift I had prepared in advance. After the two of us exchanged some pleasantries, my bro held my hand to test the waters. I sent an invitation to Su Mingyao, and she promised she'd come over. Go pick her up in a bit and chat with her more. Who knows, maybe she'll remember the proposal scene with you and get her memory back. I stayed silent for a moment, then shook my head. Watching the smile slowly vanish from my face, a look of worry flashed through my bro's eyes. What's wrong? Are you not going to hold on anymore? Just as I was about to answer, I saw Su Mingyao appearing at the door with Lu Xinian. My bro looked over too, and seeing the two of them with their arms all over each other, his face turned red with pure rage. He was about to rush over and teach them a lesson. I quickly pulled him back, my voice full of exhaustion. Forget it. It'll all be completely over in a little while. My bro didn't understand what I meant by those words. Just as he was about to press for an answer, the groomsmen came over. The wedding was about to start. After a lot of coaxing, I finally managed to persuade my bro onto the stage. Listening to the wedding march playing in the living room, I took a deep breath and returned to the main hall. The guests had already taken their seats, and only the seat next to Su Mingyao was left empty. After hesitating for a moment, I still went over and sat down. During the wedding, Lu Xinian kept pestering Su Mingyao, asking her to help serve him food. She responded to his every request, pouring wine and blowing on his soup, being extremely considerate. Even when he fed her a dessert he had already taken a bite of, she ate it completely clean, without a single shred of hesitation. Watching. The two of them looking so intimately close, I turned my eyes away toward the center of the stage. I had no appetite and didn't touch my chopsticks. My bro's mother sitting next to me served me some food and told me to eat more. Not wanting to reject auntie's kindness, I picked up a dumpling. Seeing this Su Mingyao, who was right next to me, directly reached out and snatched the dumpling away. Are you crazy? This is a seafood filling. You're allergic and can't eat it. Watching the dumpling roll on the floor a few times, I lifted my head and took a long deep look at her. Only then did Su Mingyao realize her blunder after the fact, and explained a couple of sentences with a very unnatural expression. The maid at home never buys seafood. I've told her several times, she said, pretending to have heard it from the maid. After saying that, she didn't dare look at my expression again, turning her body away to comfort Lu Xinian. She leaned into his ear and muttered who knows what. Su Mingyao then put down the things in her hand, pulled him along and left the venue. I didn't care at all where they went. It wasn't until the bouquet toss ceremony ended that I got up to go to the restroom. Just as I walked to the door, I heard strange noises coming from inside. I stopped my steps and held my breath. After a few minutes of silence, a gentle male voice came from the innermost stall. Why are you being so wild? You wore this kind of clothes just to attend a wedding. Don't you like it? Following a muffled groan, a soft laugh immediately echoed. Of course I like it. I lifted my head to look at the sign above, my index finger digging deeply into my palm. Continuous footsteps echoed in the hallway, and the restroom returned to silence once again. I took one last look at that tightly closed stall door, suppressed the redness in my eyes, turned around, and left. After the wedding ended, I went downstairs after saying goodbye to my bro. As soon as I stepped out of the elevator, I saw that very familiar sports car parked on the road. I just pretended not to see it, and was just about to hail a taxi when Lu Xinian, who popped out of nowhere, grabbed my hand. Mingyao had something to handle at the company and left first, leaving the car to me. Since we live close by, let me give you a ride. I rejected him without a second thought, but Lu Xinian didn't care at all, shoving me straight into the passenger seat, locking the car door and stepping on the gas. He was driving very fast, so I could only buckle my seatbelt. Along the way, Lu Xinian used the excuse of chatting about casual things to constantly flex both directly and indirectly. You've known for a long time that Mingyao is faking amnesia, right? Why don't you dare expose her? My eyes remained totally unblinking, my face completely cold. None of your business? How is it none of my business? I also really want to stand openly by Mengyao's side and become her fiancé. Although she doesn't mean it that way right now, you also know she really likes my body. Sooner or later, her heart will waver. Do you believe me? I ignored him completely, turning my body to look at the scenery outside the window. Seeing that I wasn't taking the bait, Lucinian directly drifted the car and stepped on the brakes. Lucinian grew anxious and angry in his heart, and provoked me a few more times. I simply closed my eyes, pretending he didn't even exist. This kind of attitude made Lucinian extremely resentful. He looked at the intersection turning ahead, hardened his heart, and violently turned the steering wheel to crash. Under the violent impact, my whole body lunged forward uncontrollably. The moment I opened my eyes, I saw shattered glass flying right at my face. I instinctively raised my hands to protect my front. Bright red blood dripped profusely down from my arms. I crashed into the side door, a sharp, violent pain coming from my skull. My vision went black, and I fainted straight away. Who knows how much time passed, but a chaotic noise echoed by my ears. Both patients' hands need immediate surgery, but currently there is only one doctor in the hospital who can operate. The patient who doesn't receive timely treatment might face the risk of permanent disability. Ms. Su, who do you want to save? Hearing this, I forced myself to wake up, squeezing out a couple of lines from my throat. I still have to play the piano. My hands cannot have any problems. That warm little hand that was originally holding, my left hand suddenly let go upon hearing my voice. Having just opened my eyes, I captured the fleeting panic on Su Mengyao's face. She placed her hand on Lu Xinian's shoulder and opened her mouth to speak. Save Xinian first. Who knows how much time passed, but after constantly falling through the darkness, I finally regained a bit of consciousness. Probably due to the effect of the anesthesia, I couldn't open my eyes for the time being and could only hear some noises around me. It was a conversation between two people and the voices sounded very familiar. Sister Mengyao, you've made such a huge mess of things. How are you going to wrap it up when the time comes? Gu Shia's hands are more important to him than his life. Yet you still chose to save Lucinian first. Are you trying to ruin him? How could I possibly want to ruin Shiye? It's just that he happened to wake up right then. If I agreed to save him first, wouldn't my faking amnesia be totally exposed? There are still over 20 days left. I just want to play around a bit more. I won't let anything happen to Shiye. How is this nothing happening? Didn't you hear what the doctor said? If he had entered the operating room even 1 minute later, Gu Shia's hands would have been completely ruined. In case he wakes up and finds out the truth, there will never be any possibility between you two again. The person holding my hand seemed very nervous upon hearing this, her palms dripping with sweat. A few minutes later, she dropped a kiss on my forehead, her tone full of certainty. He won't know. I've already arranged everything. In another 23 days, the doctor will announce that I've recovered my memory. When that time comes, everything will be just like before. After the doctor did the checkup, someone left the room, while the other person kept guarding by my hospital bed. She murmured softly, Shei, it'll be our wedding very soon. I've already ordered the wedding rings. On the day I recover my memory, you'll be able to see them. After we get our marriage certificate, I'll take you to see the aurora, okay? Do you still remember on our 3rd anniversary, the wish you made upon a shooting star? When you said you wanted to be with me forever, I was really so happy. I also want to grow old, with you. As the anesthesia slowly faded, I remembered who this rambling person was. It was my fiancée Su Mengyao. She seemed to care about me a lot, calling the doctor over every half hour to check on my condition. She would also considerately feed me water, tuck in my blanket, and guard by my side without leaving a single step until I completely woke up. All the tenderness she poured onto me was just like a tide. All the tenderness poured onto me, receded like the tide, hastily receded. Watching her back as she dodged and left the ward, a trace of sarcasm flashed in my eyes. I picked up my phone and glanced at the time, only to find out that I had been unconscious for 3 days. My texts were still only filled with ads and bill notifications. I closed my eyes and secretly prayed, hoping that the name change process could be completed as soon as possible. For a long time after that, Su Mengyao never showed up. Instead, Lucinin would send a ton of messages every day, various provocations and photos flexing their love. I didn't click open a single one of them, directly muting him on Do Not Disturb. A few days later, I went through the discharge procedures. Just as I reached the hospital entrance, I happened to run into a girl from my university days who used to pursue me. The two of us exchanged some pleasantries, and just as I was chatting happily, Su Mengyao, who appeared out of nowhere, pulled me away. Her face was dark enough to drip water, and she glared at me with eyes full of gloom. Her voice was completely filled with jealousy. Who allowed you to get so close to him? I pulled my hand back and glanced at her, my voice carrying a hint of sarcasm. Don't you have amnesia? Didn't you refuse to acknowledge me as your boyfriend? Whoever I like to chat with is none of your business, so I don't think it's your place to control me, right? After saying that I didn't care about her reaction, hailed a cab and left. Su Mengyao choked speechless by my words, could only watch helplessly as I left. After resting for a period of time, I slowly recovered. In my spare time, I roughly calculated my budget for going abroad, and found the amount was quite large. It just so happened that a previous regular customer introduced a gig. Having nothing else to do, I took it. Only when I arrived at the venue did I find out it was a birthday banquet. Seeing Su Mengyao appearing while holding hands with Lu Xinian, I froze on the spot, and a bad premonition arose in my heart. But since the deposit was already accepted, I could only suppress those strange feelings and take out my camera. Seeing me, Lucinian immediately adjusted his tie and walked over with a beaming smile. Sorry to trouble you. Try to shoot the photos from a low upward angle and turn down the brightness a little. When I go on stage later, zoom the lens in a bit. Following the huge list of requirements he put forward, I took over 100 photos. But Lucinian was still unsatisfied and insisted that I reshoot them. I patiently reshot them 3 or 4 times, and my injured wrist started to throb with pain again. Lucinian took a glance, a mocking expression appearing on his face. Why did it turn out like this? Mr. Great Photographer, it seems you're not as amazing as the rumors say. Let's just use the first version. At least there are a few photos that are passable. The surrounding people all covered their mouths and started laughing. I massaged my wrist, bracing my numb knees to stand up. Seeing this, Lucinian became even more smug. He walked over to Su Mengyao's side, then turned around and waved at me, arrogantly ordering me over. Come over and take a few couple photos of me and my girlfriend. My eyes narrowed, but quickly returned to indifference. I raised the camera, aimed the lens at the 2 of them, and pressed the shutter button. Lucinian struck countless poses, and in the end, he even leaned down to kiss Su Mengyao. Instantly, the whole venue started screaming. Everyone was taking photos. Su Mengyao's body stiffened, and she quickly let go of the hand that was wrapped around Lucinian's waist, looking toward me with some anxiety. But I didn't have much of a reaction, keeping my head down to scroll through the photos in the camera, seemingly not caring at all about what had just happened. At 11 o'clock, this banquet that lasted for 4 hours finally came to an end. I put the camera back into my bag and took out a tissue to wipe off the cake on my clothes that Lucinian had accidentally knocked over earlier. In the empty grand hall, a sudden sound of footsteps echoed. As soon as I looked up, I saw Lucinian with a grinning face walking straight toward me. Thanks for your hard work tonight. You really need money, don't you? I have another set of photos I want your help to shoot. The price can be doubled. Will you take it? Double it. I hesitated for a moment but still nodded and agreed. Lucinian directly took me up to the hotel upstairs, having already set up the shooting angle and content. Just as I set up the camera in the corner, someone knocked on the door outside. Lucinian wasn't in a hurry to open the door, giving me a meaningful smile. It's about to start. Remember to record everything. With that, he drew the curtain to cover the corner, leaving only a small gap for the camera lens. I curled up in the narrow space, bending down as I listened to the footsteps drawing closer. Under the ambiguous lighting, Lucinian yanked a woman's tie, walking in slowly. The 2 of them had their bodies pressed tightly together, looking at Su Mengyao through the lens, currently locked in an inseparable, passionate kiss with Lucinian. My hand resting on the tripod suddenly clenched tightly. She had no idea that I was right there in the room. The surging lust in the room grew more and more intense. Listening to those continuous sounds, I had become close to numb, and even breathing became difficult. Time became incredibly slow at this very moment. At 3 a.m., the noise in the room finally stopped, and the sound of the bathroom shower rang out. I pulled open the curtain and dragged my already numb legs out. I stepped over the nightwear scattered all over the floor, placed the memory card on the table, and opened the door. The streets in the early morning were completely empty. I wandered around aimlessly all by myself. Who knows how long I walked, but when I lifted my bruised, exhausted eyes, I realized that I had unknowingly returned to my high school alma mater. A wave of long-buried memories came rushing back. Su Mengyao dragging me to finish a 1,000-meter run on the sports field, the running track, a small auditorium filled with roses for my birthday, the speech platform where she confessed to me in front of the whole school. Everything looked no different from the past, but for me standing in the middle of it all, my mood was already vastly different. I walked to the teaching building and ran into the dean of students who had just come to work. Because of Su Mengyao's high-profile pursuit in the past, almost all the teachers recognized me. The dean smiled and greeted me gushiye. Why did you suddenly come back to school? Where's Su Mengyao? I heard a while ago that you guys got engaged. Are you here to hand out wedding invitations? I forced out a bitter smile and shifted the topic. It's been too long since I came back, so I just passed by and came to see the teachers. The 2 of us chatted as we walked, talking about many things from the past, filled with all sorts of emotions. Before parting, the dean seemed to recall something, taking out a yellow diary from the office cabinet and handing it over. This was confiscated from Su Mengyao when I was checking discipline during self-study class back then. Since your happy event is approaching, I'll return it to you. I froze for a moment, took it, and bowed to the teacher. On my way back, I opened the diary and saw Su Mengyao's elegant handwriting. Every single page had the exact same name, writing down a young girl's innermost thoughts of pursuing a boy. As I kept reading, a sour feeling hit my nose, and tears streamed down uncontrollably, drop by drop. This was both a commemoration of the past and a form of farewell. By the time the car stopped at the villa entrance, I had already calmed my chaotic emotions. I closed the diary, pulled open the car door, and locked eyes with Su Mengyao, who just happened to return, looking at that bright red hickey on her neck. I recalled what happened last night and shifted my gaze away. Su Mengyao noticed that I looked like I had been crying, furrowing her brows, just trying to figure out how to ask about it without leaving a trace. Lucinian, who was holding her, also saw my red eyes and secretly snickered. Thanks for your hard work yesterday. I've already transferred the money to you. I'm very satisfied with what you shot, and you should be very satisfied too, right? Hearing his words that carried a double meaning, you should be quite satisfied too, right? Hearing these meaningful words from him, tone. Su Mengyao's heart skipped a violent beat. Satisfied with what? The birthday photos from the first half of the night, of course. What else could it be, the second half? Seeing how he spoke without any filter, Su Mengyao's heart sank. She quickly covered his mouth with her hand. I completely ignored them, turning around and walking back home. As I passed by the trash can, I casually threw that diary into it. Those youthful years carrying love and sincerity were completely buried. Before leaving, I sent a message to the landlord, mentioning that I wouldn't be renewing the lease. The landlord kept pressing me on why I was moving out. I just made up a random excuse. The landlord said she could give me a grace period of a few days, allowing me to stay until the middle of next month. I knew Su Mengyao was pulling the strings behind the scenes. She wanted me to stay for a couple more days, so she could pretend to recover her memory, and then smoothly bring me back home. I didn't expose their little plot, and just agreed to it. 3 days before my departure, I received a call from an unknown number. Is this Mr. Gu? Hello, I am the manager of the Hilton Hotel, the one where you held your engagement banquet before. Here's the thing. Your fiancé booked our main hall a while ago, saying a wedding banquet will be held here the day after tomorrow. But we haven't been able to reach her lately, and there are some details we need to verify and finalize. Are you free to come over and chat about it? I originally wanted to refuse, but when I heard the date, the day after tomorrow, my eyelashes trembled slightly. January 1st. It was the day Su Mengyao decided to recover her memory, and it was also the day I was prepared to leave. I agreed and took a cab over. As soon as I entered the hall and saw the decorations, I instantly went silent. From the fresh flowers to the ornaments, everything was a perfect tribute to the time Su Mengyao proposed to me. Standing in the middle of it for a moment, I couldn't tell what year it was. The manager who accompanied me was just about to start introducing everything when he got a phone call and left temporarily. I walked up to the second floor balcony alone. Looking down, I couldn't help but recall Su Mengyao holding flowers, hugging me, and making a lifelong promise to only love me. Back then, I was full of anticipation for our upcoming married life. Who would have thought that after just 3 months, everything would have vanished like smoke into thin air? Just as I was feeling sentimental, the door was suddenly pushed open. Su Mengyao, wearing a long dress, walked in holding a bouquet of flowers. Lucinian, who was following closely behind her, couldn't help but let out a gasp of surprise at the dreamy scene. A flash of anticipation mirrored in his eyes. Mengyao, why did you bring me here? Su Mengyao snapped her fingers, her face absolutely beaming with pride. This is the place where Shiye and I held our engagement banquet before. The day after tomorrow, I plan to have a few friends bring Shiye here. When the time comes, I can pretend to be moved by the familiar scenery and naturally remember the past. I brought you here today because I wanted to do a rehearsal first. You'll play Shiye's part, so we can see if there are any oversights. With that, she pushed Lucinian to the center of the stage and started acting. A huge pillar blocked me completely out of sight. I quietly watched the two of them perform their deeply emotional scene, my eyes flickering slightly. I had to admit, Su Mengyao really had a natural talent for acting. If I had been completely kept in the dark about all of this, coming here 3 days later, I might actually have been fooled by her. Luckily, I wasn't quite that unfortunate. Downstairs, the performance had already progressed to the forgiveness phase. Lucinian leaned down and kissed Su Mengyao. The originally affectionate at me. Fears. Slowly began to sour from that exact moment. 2.5 minutes later, Lucinian held Su Mengyao and whispered softly, "If you ever feel unsatisfied, after going back to his side, you can contact me anytime." Hearing these words, a flash of clarity crossed Su Mengyao's eyes, her tone filled with absolute certainty. His tone carried absolute certainty. There won't be a next time. Everything will be over in 3 days, and I will belong only to Shaye. Is that so? I cast my gaze down to hide the thoughts in my eyes, giving her an answer deep in my heart. What a pity. Su Mengyao, I don't want you anymore. 2 days before my departure, I received a notification that the name change procedure was complete. I went out and picked up my new ID card and passport with the updated name. By the time I got home, it was already evening. Looking up, I saw Su Mengyao waiting at the door. She seemed to be waiting for me to return. Seeing me, her eyes flickered with uncertainty, and she asked hesitantly, "Where did you go?" I used my key to open the door, my tone very calm. "Is something wrong?" Su Mengyao put her hands in her pockets, pretending as if nothing had happened. "Nothing. It's just that the weather forecast says there will be heavy rain tomorrow, so don't go out if you don't have to. She was clearly afraid she wouldn't be able to find me tomorrow, yet she found such a lame excuse. I really wanted to laugh, but in the end I held it back and nodded. Got it. Looking at my completely indifferent expression, Sumeng Yao felt a strange panic in her heart. She always felt that my state of mind lately had been very weird, but as for what exactly was off, she couldn't quite say. On the day of my departure, I woke up very early. Looking at my 2 p.m. flight, I threw away all the rest of my belongings. Staring at the empty room, with only 2 suitcases left, I let out a long sigh of relief. At 11 a.m., the doorbell rang. I opened the door slightly, leaving a small crack, and found a few of Su Mengyao's best friends. Gu Shiye, we know that you've been mentally exhausted lately because of Mengyao's condition, and your spirits have been low. The doctor said a few days ago that she's been taking her meds on time, and her condition is slowly improving. Don't worry anymore. Yeah, exactly. We also hope Sister Mengyao can recover her memory soon. We're all waiting to attend your wedding. Today just happens to be your 7th anniversary, so we've prepared a little surprise. I listened quietly. As they recited the script they had prepared in advance, cooperating perfectly as I asked what surprise. Just come with us and you'll find out. Before I could even answer, one of their phones rang. A minute later, they quickly changed their story. Gu Shiye, something came up. The surprise might have to wait for a bit. Go ahead with your business first, and we'll come back to pick you up tonight. With that, they left in the rain. After watching their car disappear into the downpour, I turned around and brought my luggage down. 10 minutes later, a taxi pulled up at the entrance. The driver helped me load the luggage and took off ahead of me. As I left the villa and passed by the car parked next door, I heard some strange noises coming from inside. Turning my body and looking at the sports car shaking more and more violently, my chest tightened, and I quickened my pace toward the passenger side. At 5 p.m., the rain that had fallen all day finally stopped. An annoyed Su Mengyao opened the car door and waved her hand outside, signaling Lucinian, who was still buttoning his shirt, to get out. She pouted and glared at him. Get down once you're decent. Looking at the time displayed on the car screen, Su Mengyao turned her head to avoid him. Stop whining, sister. I'm just... Su Mengyao interrupted his words, her tone carrying an undeniable authority. From the very beginning I told you that we were just playing a game with a 2-month deadline. Now that the time is up, it's time for you to exit. Looking at her cold demeanor, Lucinian could only get out of the car reluctantly. Su Mengyao rolled up the window and stepped on the gas. The lingering lust in the car was blown away by the wind. Looking at the distance gradually shortening on the GPS, she let out a faint smile. Everything was going according to plan. After the car stopped outside the Hilton Hotel, she didn't go to the main hall, but went straight upstairs instead. After playing around all afternoon, her clothes were completely wrinkled, and she needed to go handle that. Before entering the bathroom, she called her best friends and gave them a few instructions. The girls on the other end all snickered together. Sister Mengyao, don't you worry. Gushai promised us this morning that he'd come over, and we're already on our way to pick him up. Yeah, you'd better think about how to act later. This is going to be quite difficult. I've been acting for 2 months already without a single blunder, so what are you afraid of? She said, I've been acting for 2 months already without a single blunder, so what are you guys afraid of? Gu Shaye is deeply infatuated with Sister Mengyao, so he definitely won't suspect anything. Su Mengyao didn't feel like listening to their banter, cursing at them with a smile and casually tossing her phone onto the sofa. Half an hour later, she came out while drying her hair, only to hear her phone ringing continuously. The moment she opened the screen and saw over 20 missed calls, her heart rate suddenly accelerated. After forcing down those panicky emotions, she pressed the answer button. Making so many calls. Did something happen? Sister Mengyao, we've been knocking on the villa door for over 10 minutes, but Gushie hasn't come out at all. He doesn't reply to texts, and his phone is also turned off. What should we do? Can't reach him. Su Mengyao's brows furrowed tightly, her great mood completely ruined. Maybe he fell asleep. Go to my place. Get the spare key from my dad and go inside to check. The friends agreed to do so. Su Mengyao massaged her temples, changing into clean clothes, while recalling the evening's schedule in her mind. After packing up, she took her things and walked downstairs. The hotel manager saw her and immediately greeted her eagerly. Ms. Su, take a look at the layout of the venue. If there's anything you're unsatisfied with, we'll adjust it immediately. Su Mengyao took a quick glance and nodded with great satisfaction. Not bad. Having received approval, the hotel manager smiled even more flatteringly. As long as you are satisfied, Ms. Su. Actually, to achieve this one-to-one replication, we also have to thank your fiancé. A few days ago, there were a few ornaments, whose positions I couldn't remember clearly, so I invited him over to finalize it. Fiancé, hearing these words, the expression on Su Mengyao's face froze. She stared dead at the person in front of her, her tone carrying a hint of rage. Who allowed you to contact him? This was a surprise prepared for him. Didn't you know that? Seeing her angry, the manager was so scared he could barely speak properly. I couldn't reach you, so I asked him to come over to help out in an emergency. And you didn't say it had to be a secret? I thought since you're already engaged, having over a month of planning ruined like this. Su Mengyao was flushing red with anger. She clenched her fist tightly and was about to blow up when her friend's phone call came through again. Mengyao. Sister Mengyao, this is bad. Gushai is gone. Linking it back to what the manager had just said, Su Mengyao only felt her brain go completely dizzy. Then go find him. Hearing her furious roar, the people on the phone were almost on the verge of tears. It's not that we aren't looking, but everything in the villa has been cleared out clean. We checked the surveillance footage. He threw away all his things this morning and left with a suitcase at 12 o'clock. We don't know where he went. Word by word. It exploded in Su Mengyao's ears like a sudden thunderclap. She was stunned on the spot. 12 o'clock, the taxi. All those memories she had ignored completely resurfaced. The clueless manager, the completely confused manager, was still rambling on with his explanation. Actually, even if I hadn't called Mr. Gu, he seemed to already know about it. He asked me a lot of things that day. And before leaving, he even gave me a box, asking me to pass it to you tonight. With that, the manager handed the item over. Looking at the ring he presented with both hands, Su Mengyao only felt like she was suffocating. Her hands trembling, she opened it. And at a single glance, she saw that dazzling engagement ring. Right next to it lay a pink button. She stared blankly at the button, and a complaint Lucinian made when leaving the hotel 3 days ago suddenly flashed into her mind. Next time we're outside, hold back your strength a bit. You tore the button right off my clothes. The blood all over Su Mengyao's body began to flow backward. She grabbed the manager's collar in one swift motion, her eyes widening to their limit due to being bloodshot. Tell me what happened next. 3 days ago, Mr. Gu came at 2 p.m. and didn't leave until 5 p.m. Hearing this answer, Su Mengyao's entire being was on the verge of collapse. She snatched the ring, rushed into her car like crazy, ran over 10 red lights in a row, and sped all the way. She made it back home within 10 minutes. The villa next door was brightly lit, and she barged straight inside. Her friends were just short of digging 3 feet into the ground. Even after turning the house upside down, they still didn't see anything related to Guxie. Seeing her arrive, everyone quickly crowded around. Sister Mengyao, we didn't even find a single strand of hair. We really don't know where Guxie went. I also had people check, and among the list of passengers who left Jingbei this past month, none had Guxie's name. The bad news coming one after another made Su Mengyao's heart drop straight to the absolute bottom. Seeing her arrive, everyone quickly crowded around. Sister Mengyao, we didn't even find a single strand of hair. We really don't know where Guxie went. I also had people check, and among the list of passengers who left Jingbei this past month, none had Guxie's name. The bad news coming one after another made Su Mengyao's heart drop straight to the absolute bottom. Panicking completely, she grabbed her phone to call me, but there was only the cold automated voice prompting that the phone was off. And all the messages she sent over were rejected. A huge wave of red exclamation marks made her vision go dizzy. Her friends had never seen her lose her composure like this before, and they all started comforting her at once. Sister Mengyao, you need to pull yourself together. He just left not long ago, so it's still not too late to go look for him now. Yeah, exactly. Just directly track his phone's location, and you'll definitely find him. Hearing these ideas, Su Mengyao barely managed to recover a shred of sanity. She quickly sent a message to her secretary, demanding him to go check clearly. After an hour that felt like an eternity, the secretary sent a reply. President Su, we found it. Mr. Gu's phone was found in a trash can at the bus station. We have already stepped up the screening of the passenger list entering the station. It wasn't exactly good news, but compared to having absolutely no clue, it was still a lot better. Su Mengyao couldn't sit still at all, ignoring her friend's discouragement and heading straight to the bus station. As soon as she arrived, the secretary handed over the cleaned-up phone. She entered the password to unlock it, only to find that all his social media accounts had been wiped clean, and his contacts were also completely deleted. Only one name remained, Lucinian. The exact instant she saw this name, Su Mengyao broke out into a cold sweat all over. She spent a long time mentally preparing herself before finally gathering up some courage to click into it. The latest message was a video sent by Lucinian this afternoon. It was shot inside a car. Seeing this background, Su Mengyao already guessed what the content of the video was. She didn't dare click it open, sliding her finger upward instead. 3 or 4 videos daily were interspersed with some text. The taste of playing dumb must be pretty agonizing, right? Guxie. To be played like a fool like this, how can you still endure it? Your fiancé has such a strong sex drive, and you're frigid. If you guys actually get married, I feel like you'll divorce in less than 3 months. Are you really going to marry her? Scrolling from January to December, all 30 days were filled with this kind of provocation. Su Mengyao was already completely blinded by fury. Her mind and eyes were left with only one final thought, to settle the score with Lucinian. Speeding all the way back home. Just as she got out of the car, she saw luggage piled at the entrance. Lucinian was currently directing a few servants to move things, and seeing her return, he immediately clung to her. Why are you back? Is it because you still can't let go of me? Then give me a kiss, and I'll stay. Looking at that handsome face right in front of her, Su Mengyao could no longer hold back, raising her hand and using all her strength to slap him hard across the face. With a loud slap, Lucinian was sent crashing heavily to the ground by the slap. His fair face turned crimson and swelled up high. He lifted his head with eyes full of disbelief. Mengyao, why did you hit me? Su Mengyao was so angry she couldn't even speak. She threw the phone onto his body, a cold chilling light flashing in her eyes. Lucinian picked up the phone, and the exact instant he saw the screen, the hairs all over his body stood on end, and he couldn't help but shiver. In an instant, countless thoughts flashed through his brain, and he started to explain in a complete panic. Mengyao, I can explain. Actually, Guxie was the one who set me up. He already knew about you faking amnesia a long time ago. I just love you too much. That's why I made a foolish mistake. To the current Su Mengyao, these words were no different from adding fuel to the fire. She could no longer control her emotions, ordering the bodyguards to drag him up and choking his throat tightly. The intense suffocation made Lucinian struggle desperately. His face turned from red to green, slowly showing a purple tint. Those eyes full of despair slowly bulged out, revealing a deathly stillness. Just when Lucinian thought he was going to be choked to death alive, her friends who arrived late saw the scene and their faces turned white with fear. They quickly rushed forward to save him. Sister Mengyao, calm down. The top priority right now is to find Guxie. Yeah, exactly. This guy's in our hands anyway. It won't be too late to settle the score later. Hearing these words, Su Mengyao finally stopped her hands. She took one last glance at the man slumped on the ground, her voice so cold it was a bit terrifying. Send him over to Old Do and keep a close eye on him. Hearing this name, the semi-conscious Lucinian suddenly woke up completely. He crawled over to Su Mengyao's side, grabbed her leg tightly and begged with a tone full of pleas. Mengyao, no. Sister Mengyao, I've accompanied you for 2 months. Please spare me this time. As long as you let me leave, I promise I will never come back to bother you again. I'm begging you. Su Mengyao remained expressionless, and her friends didn't dare to plead for him either. Dragging him straight into the car, Lucinian couldn't break free, so he could only watch helplessly as the house grew further and further away in the rearview mirror. His despairing wails echoed inside the car. The expressions of the others all turned cold. If you had just been obedient, didn't stir up trouble, and left with the money, you wouldn't have to worry for the rest of your life. But you didn't know your place, and just had to go mess with Guxie. You deserve to end up like this. Exactly. Once you get to Sister Du's place, just be obedient and you might still save your life. Otherwise, given the methods of the people under her, you'll just have to wait to suffer. When the plane landed in Melbourne, it happened to be early morning. After resting for a night at the booked hotel, the next day I took my luggage and arrived at the apartment arranged in advance. Over the next few days, I bought a lot of daily necessities, and the originally empty room slowly became filled up. While I was packing up my things, while keeping in touch with my roommate who would arrive in a few days. Slowly, I adapted to the local life. Because of my great cooking skills, I successfully joined the international student circle and hung out with 2 guys who lived next door. They took me out shopping, introduced me to nearby restaurants, and visited local scenic spots together. After a few days of hanging out, my superb photography skills were recognized by my new friends, and I even joined the local photography circle. On my 10th day in Melbourne, I completed my first photography gig. Looking at the newly credited $300, I felt completely satisfied. Early the next morning, my new roommate Zhao Yu arrived. Very quickly, he and I became good bros. As time passed day by day, school was about to start. The day before school started, I personally cooked a whole table of dishes and invited my newly met friends over for a party. After spending a month together, everyone had gotten much closer. After a few drinks, everyone gathered around to gossip. Who knows who started it? But everyone began to roast their ex-girlfriends. Zhao Yu smiled and asked casually, everyone has roasted theirs already. Xia, do you have any secrets to share with us? The smile on my face froze. When the other guys were sharing earlier, some had also talked about their ex-girlfriends cheating on them. At the time, I just listened to it as a joke. But when the topic shifted to me, I found it a bit hard to speak of. So much time had passed, and when I thought of the name Su Mengyao again, I actually didn't feel any sadness anymore. It was just that, in front of a bunch of naive guys who had just graduated and were 2 or 3 years younger than me, I didn't know how to open my mouth. After all, a 10-year history, a 7-year relationship, and a first love who cheated on me, just 1 or 2 months before the wedding. It really sounded way too tragic. I didn't want to see expressions of pity or sympathy on everyone's faces. This dozen seconds of silence made Zhao Yu sense that something was unusual. He took the initiative to change the subject, not making things difficult for me. After the party was over and everyone had their fill, Zhao Yu even came over on his own to apologize. Shayi, I didn't mean to do that just now. I'm sorry. Of course, I knew it was just an honest mistake, so I smiled and waved my hand. After returning to my bedroom, I turned on my phone and logged into the new WeChat account I registered a month ago. Several friends had been continuously sending me a ton of messages. I replied to them one by one. Thank you all for your concern. My best bro replied in a split second. Shaye, how did you just vanish from the face of the earth after going abroad? You worried me for so long. Just by looking at the screen, I could picture the complaining tone he had right now. I let out a sigh, quickly said sorry, and told him I was safe. The two of us caught up about our recent lives, and I accidentally fell asleep while chatting. When I woke up the next day, I looked at the 99 plus messages sent by my bro, my eyes widening as I read through them one by one. Only then did I realize most of them were about Su Mengyao. After you left, Su Mengyao came to find me every other day, asking about your whereabouts. Don't worry, my lips were sealed tight, and I didn't reveal a single word. Good thing you went to the bus station before heading to the airport. She actually thought you left Jingbei by train, and is looking for you all over the country. I heard Su Mengyao has been drowning her sorrows at bars lately. 2 days ago, she was sent to the hospital with gastric bleeding from drinking. Serves her right. She even went to look for your parents. But since you cut contact with them long ago, they definitely had no idea. Seeing these updates regarding Su Mengyao, my heart didn't feel a single ripple. Looking at the clear river in the distance, countless thoughts flooded my mind. When I was 12, my parents divorced and started their own families, and neither of them wanted me. They dumped me with my grandmother, who lived alone. When I was 17, my grandmother passed away, leaving me as the only one left on the household register. When I agreed to be with Su Mengyao at 18, she once promised she would definitely give me a home. I believed her words and waited for her for 7 years, only to end up with the ridiculous amnesia scam and the harsh reality of her cheating on me. Calling those long 30 days, I still feel a shiver down my spine. Fortunately, everything is in the past now. I pulled open the curtains, and the brilliant sunshine streamed in, dispelling the chill inside me. The alarm rang at 8 o'clock. I changed my clothes, grabbed my bag, and headed to school with Zhao Yu. The freshman opening ceremony was held in the auditorium. Sitting among a crowd of vibrant young people, listening to the principal's inspiring speech, the sense of unreality that had been looming over my heart slowly dissipated. The future belonging to Guxie had officially begun. The moment Su Mengyao woke up, she smelled the strong scent of disinfectant. The side effects of the alcohol were still lingering, making her head feel completely dizzy. Her stomach felt heavy, sour, and throbbed with a faint pain. She stared blankly at her surroundings, as her chaotic consciousness gradually recovered. The Su family members waiting by the side saw her wake up. Although they breathed a sigh of relief, their expressions remained completely dark. Acting all dramatic over a guy. Risking your life like this? Yes? Just how long are you going to keep making a scene? A few of her best friends also crowded around, trying to persuade her with earnest words. Gushai has already been gone for a month, and there hasn't been a single word from him. He's definitely doing this on purpose. Sister Mengyao, forget about him. What kind of man can't you find? Why do you have to hyperfixate on him? These words were things Su Mengyao had already heard countless times this past month. She had never taken them to heart, and right now, she just let them go in one ear and out the other. Those bloodshot eyes were unfocused and listless, her thin lips tightly pursed, leaving nothing but stubbornness on her bare face. Seeing her completely let herself go in this depraved, miserable state, Mother Su was absolutely furious, finally losing her temper uncontrollably. You are the only daughter of the Su family. You carry the entire future of the Su group on your shoulders, drowning yourself in romance drama every single day. What a joke! Let me tell you for the last time, I have already picked out the groom. For the wedding in 5 days, you must show up. If you keep being this reckless, don't use the last name Su anymore. After saying that, Mother Su didn't even look at her, flicking her sleeves and slamming the door as she left. The room instantly fell dead silent. Seeing that her friends didn't even dare to breathe heavily, Su Mengyao braced herself to sit up, her voice raspy and exhausted. Who did the old lady pick? Zhou Han, the third son of the Zhou family. Su Mengyao let out a soft snort, her eyes turning a bit cold. Go tell him about my marriage. No one can make decisions for me. If he knows what's good for him, he'll call off the engagement himself. Otherwise, don't blame me for not giving the Zhou family any face. Just by hearing Su Menyao's tone, her friends knew she definitely wouldn't let this go. But thinking about the furious Auntie Su just now, they could only bite the bullet and persuade her. Sister Mengyao, in our circle, marriage is nothing but a business deal. Auntie Su has already given her final ultimatum, and the Zhou family isn't one to be messed with either. Why don't we just drop it? Yeah, exactly. The wedding invitations were sent out long ago. The arrow is already on the string now. If the groom changes, so be it. Even if Guxie comes back, his family background wouldn't be a good match anyway. Su Mengyao never expected that the best friends she grew up with, who usually shared everything, would actually say such unpleasant things to her. Her face instantly turned cold, shooting them a death glare. If you say that kind of stuff again, all of you can get the hell out. My husband, Su Mengyao's husband, will only ever be Guxie in this lifetime. I don't care if it's the Zhou family or the Xie family, I won't marry a single one of them. Seeing how she refused to listen to advice, her friends didn't dare to add fuel to the fire, so they could only shut their mouths and make a quick getaway. Su Mengyao was left all alone in the hospital ward once again. She closed her eyes, and countless scenes flashed across her mind. Every day before going out, I would fix her clothes for her, kissing the corner of her lips, the tears of anxiety I shed when she was sick, and the hot soup medicine delivered right to her hand. The surprises I meticulously prepared for our anniversaries, and the promises to grow old together year after year. All those little details she had once taken for granted had now become things she could only dream of. Looking at the update her secretary had just sent, saying there was still no trace of me whatsoever, Su Mengyao's heavily scarred heart throbbed with pain all over again. She tightly gripped that abandoned phone, as if clutching onto her absolute last shred of hope. Sister Mengyao, we talked with Johan. He said the wedding details were all set by his parents, and he's just following his elders' arrangements. He won't call off the engagement. What should we do? Hearing this outcome, Su Mengyao's heart sank to the absolute bottom, a flash of malice crossing her eyes. Since he doesn't know what's good for him, then let's wait and see. Hearing her tone like this, her friends all felt a bit of a chill in their chests. The Zhou family was also a prominent family whose name everyone knew in Jingbei. Sister Mengyao, what do you plan to do? Please don't do anything reckless. Su Mengyao swept a glance over them, without giving an answer, switching the topic instead. Where is Lu Xinian? Her friends had completely forgotten about this. Nobody, looking at each other in confusion. We don't know. We'd have to ask Sister Du. With that, they were just about to make a phone call. But Su Mengyao was currently suppressing a wave of fury in her heart with nowhere to vent it, so she just stopped them, intending to head over and see for herself. Just as she sat down after entering the exclusive private room, Yu Lihua walked in bringing wine and people, her face full of flattery as she looked at Su Mengyao. President Su, I've brought the person you wanted. Take a look. With that, she gave the cowering figure, hiding behind her, a hard push forward. Lu Xinian had become skin and bones, and his exposed arms and thighs were covered in black and blue bruises. His entire body was trembling, not daring to lift his head to look at the visitor at all, his voice carrying deep terror. Mengyao! Sister Mengyao, not seeing each other for a month, the glamorous, handsome guy had turned into this pitiful state, which truly gave everyone in the room quite a shock. Only Su Mengyao remained expressionless, staring dead at the man before her, with eyes full of hatred. By the time she finished speaking, her tone carried endless nostalgia. A few long sighs echoed in the car. If you knew it would end like this, why did you act like that in the first place? Recalling the things they said in the private room 2 months ago, the group finally realized with a shock that their drunken jokes back then had actually become a reality. When the second young mistress of the Shen family chased her husband, she could at least still find a trace of him. But Gu Shiye seemed to have vanished into thin air, disappearing completely without a trace. During this past month or so, these friends had utilized all the connections and resources at their disposal. They searched every single place they could think of, yet they still made absolutely no progress. How could someone leave behind no clues at all, under such an extensive dragnet search? This riddle of the century remained looming in everyone's minds. A week into the semester, I slowly blended into the campus life. Every day I woke up on time for classes, discussing academic topics with professors and classmates, and hanging out or having dinner with a few friends during my free time. If it could be said that my past life was like a sea with undercurrents day and night, then my life now is completely calm and smooth. I enjoyed this hard-earned peace and serenity, completely immersing myself in it, and my mind and body fully relaxed. On Saturday noon, Zhao Yu and I went for a walk in the park to digest our food. As soon as we returned, I saw my WeChat blowing up with spam messages. Several friends, without prior agreement, all forwarded the exact same link to me. Once I clicked on it, I immediately saw the two names Su Mengyao and Gu Shiye. After watching the entire video clip of the wedding scene, I was left somewhat speechless for a moment, and could only reply with a few ellipses. My best bro followed up right after, sending a long paragraph of angry rants. Gross A cheating unfaithful woman like Su Mengyao can actually be media trained into some hopeless romantic. Who is she trying to disgust? If I weren't afraid of exposing your whereabouts, I would definitely go expose this toxic girl's true face and let everyone see how hypocritical she really is. And what's this about remaining unmarried for you? It literally made me laugh out loud. Pretending to have amnesia and kicking you out of the house, did she just forget about that? And saying she will definitely find you. She can get the hell away. It's pure bad luck to be targeted by her. Seeing these rants, only then did I remember why I felt like I had unfinished business this morning. So today was supposed to be the wedding that I escaped from. Thinking about this, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. Seeing this Zhao Yu next to me also leaned in to see what was going on. What are you laughing at, Shaye? I waved my hand. Nothing. My friend is just ranting to me about those trending topics on Weibo. That bride who made a huge scene at the wedding, right? Zhao Yu had a vague impression of it, mentioning it casually as he opened Weibo. As soon as he refreshed it, a new post was suddenly pushed to him. The photo of the male lead Su Mengyao passionately confessed to has been found. He clicked on the full-size image about to show me. But when his eyes swept across that youthful ID photo, he was instantly stunned. He stared at the photo for a long time, then shifted his gaze to my face. Perhaps sensing his gaze, I looked up at him. What's wrong? After hesitating for a moment, Zhao Yu still decided to be completely honest. Ye, the domestic media, has already dug up the photo of the guy that the bride confessed to. He looks quite a bit like you. Do you know him? The expression on my face froze. Now I understood why Su Mengyao went to such great lengths to make such a massive scene. So it was all to find my whereabouts. A strange feeling rose in my heart. I looked down at the screen Zhao Yu handed over, frowning slightly. It was my ID photo from high school. I don't know who leaked it, even though 7 or 8 years had passed and I had filled out a bit. Anyone with eyes could tell it was me at a glance. Otherwise, Zhao Yu wouldn't have asked me like this. The room fell quiet for a while. I thought it over back and forth, and finally decided to admit it. That's me. Su Mengyao is my ex-girlfriend. I changed my name and went abroad after the breakup. Suddenly hearing this kind of gossip, Zhao Yu's eyes widened completely, his tone full of shock. Since you already broke up, then why is she still pulling a stunt like this? Isn't this heavily disrupting your life? I nodded slightly, feeling a bit helpless. It will cause some trouble, but since I'm already abroad, it should be fine, right? Zhao Yu's expression turned somewhat serious. Looking at this, she intentionally made such a big scene just to find you, so she can keep pestering you. This news is trending pretty hard. Someone at school might recognize you. What should we do then? This was also the issue I was most worried about. But seeing how Zhao Yu was genuinely worrying for me, I forced a slight smile. It's fine. She doesn't know I changed my name, and she probably doesn't know about me going abroad. If things really get bad, I'll just wear a mask and bundle up tightly whenever I go out these days. I guess that's the only option. Zhao Yu nodded somewhat heavily, then dug out one of his own hats. Take this with you when you go out. It can block your face and also shield you from the sun. I took it, wanting to ease the tension in the room, and joked with him. She's just an ex-girlfriend. No need to be so nervous. Su Mengyao went crazy at such an important event. She's clearly not normal. Lately, I've seen so many news reports about people taking revenge on ex-boyfriends or ex-husbands out of love turning to hatred. Ye, I'm genuinely worried she'll track you down and something bad will happen. Hearing this little brother, whom I'd only known for a month, worry about me so much, my heart softened and I held his hand. I was with her for 7 years. Although she did a lot of things to hurt me, she probably wouldn't go that extreme. Don't worry. Even though I said this with a smile, Zhao Yu didn't know how to comfort me. Racking his brain, he could only come up with a few words. It'll pass. Ye, you've already crawled out of that swamp. Just keep looking forward. Looking at his determined eyes, the anxiety in my heart slowly faded away. Even those agonizing 30 days are over. So what else is there left to worry about? The day after the wedding ended, the Su family announced that all of Su Mengyao's duties at the Su group were temporarily suspended. Meanwhile, the Zhou family also announced that the 3 ongoing projects they were collaborating on with the Su family were all terminated. On the 50th day of my disappearance, Su Mengyao still hadn't obtained a single clue regarding my whereabouts. On the internet, the gossip about them was spreading like wildfire, but it was all discussions about their past drama. Not a single person had dug up my tracks. Su Mengyao's firm determination to find him back was also completely worn down by the continuous passing of time. She became more and more afraid to return to that empty villa, and she didn't want to open the updates sent by her secretary anymore. Even now, just hearing the words Guxiye, she would get triggered and throw a massive tantrum. The Su family had frozen all her cards, so she couldn't squander money like she used to fill her panicked mind. Her friends had also lost faith, all advising her to let it go and apologize to her family. Su Mengyao had lived for 24 years, and this was the first time she suffered this kind of blow. She drank heavily all day long, smashing things whenever she got drunk, screaming my name at the top of her lungs and crying in non-stop repentance. But alcohol could only temporarily numb her mind. Once she woke up, she had to face the dismal and bleak reality all over again. Under this day-by-day torture, she no longer possessed her former high-spirited appearance. On New Year's Eve, Su Mengyao was all alone under this day-by-day torture. She no longer possessed her former high-spirited appearance. On that New Year's Eve, Su Mengyao was drinking alone at a bar, declining several phone calls from Father Su, and finally just turned off her phone. By midnight, she returned to the villa completely wasted and dizzy, and thought of me again. In past years on New Year's Eve, after she went home to have a reunion dinner, she would come to the villa to accompany me. I would cook a table of delicious food and welcome the new year together with her. The two of us would cuddle on the sofa, watching the fireworks light up the sky outside the window, making wishes to stay together year after year. Now the fireworks exploded once again, but the only thing left to accompany her was a floor full of booze. Through the window, Su Mengyao gazed at the lively scene outside, and boundless loneliness suddenly flooded her heart. After the clock struck midnight, she opened her phone and sent me a New Year's greeting. With a ding-dong sound, the phone she left on the table rang. She picked up my phone and clicked on that little red dot. The phone she left on the table rang. She picked up my phone and clicked on that little red dot and sent another Happy New Year to himself. Seeing the blessings sent from this familiar avatar, the pain in Su Mengyao's heart finally found a shred of relief. Now, he could only rely on this self-directed and self-acted greeting, drama to comfort himself. Right at his most agonizing moment, someone suddenly brought news about me. A best friend studying abroad in Melbourne mentioned it casually at the drinking table, saying she saw someone at school who looked a lot like Gu Shiye. This piece of news instantly made Su Mengyao perk up completely. He immediately booked a flight to Melbourne and was just about to get up and leave, but his friends pulled him back and poured cold water on him. Sister Mengyao, since the guy is found, he won't be able to run away. The urgent priority right now is Lucinian. If this matter isn't solved, how could Gu Shiye ever forgive you? These words woke him up like a slap in the face. Su Mengyao's heart, which had just relaxed a little bit, hung in suspense again. He suppressed the wild joy in his heart and forced himself to calm down. His friends were giving him ideas on the side, but after listening, he found none of them useful. In the end, he decided to solve it himself. Su Mengyao went straight to the hospital. This time he planned to deal with Lucinian once and for all. 30 minutes later, looking at the dying Lucinian, he called the bodyguards out. He planned to just let Lucinian die a painful death like this. Su Mengyao stood up, wiping the blood off his hands without any rush, looking completely calm and collected, as if this messy scene on the floor had nothing to do with him. After wiping them clean, Su Mengyao lifted his watch to check the time, raising his leg to leave. Just as he took a step, a burst of heart-wrenching sharp pain suddenly came from his lower abdomen. He violently knelt down onto the ground, his face distorted as he glanced sideways, only to see the dying Lucinian had gone completely insane. He pulled out the fruit knife stabbed into his own body, blood splattering everywhere, dyeing his emaciated face a deep crimson. The thick bloody scent in the air stimulated his nerves. In his eyes, he could only see the woman who had completely destroyed his entire life beyond recognition. This was the last and only chance for revenge. Lucinian was exceptionally clear-headed. He held the knife high up, stabbing down at Su Mengyao with complete disregard. One after another, desperate screams echoed through the entire room. From sharp shrieks, the sound slowly died down into groans, leaving only the sound of difficult wheezing in the throat. Su Mengyao's pupils slowly dilated, his tightly clenched fists unconsciously letting go. Lucinian had also exhausted all his strength and the weapon fell to the ground with a clang. The blood flowing out from both of their bodies intertwined, seeping outward along the smooth floor, looking exactly like a dark red river. The second hand on the wall was still ticking away, and Su Mengyao's consciousness slowly became blurred. The unbearable sharp pain also slowly faded away. He felt as if he had fallen into the clouds, the scene in front of him turning patchy bit by bit, leaving only flickering black and white images. The past memories replayed in his mind, like a revolving lantern, from his carefree childhood days, to his teenage years when love first bloomed, and then to the current mundane moments. In every single scene of the black and white images, only one person was in full color. The 16-year-old me wearing a white suit, quietly playing the piano. The 18-year-old me standing by his hospital bed, crying my eyes out, while holding his hand tightly. The 23-year-old me, with tears in my eyes, taking that bouquet of bright red roses and agreeing to become his husband. The 24-year-old me walking into the pouring rain with an umbrella, making it impossible to see any expression on my face. Looking at that gradually blurring figure, the tightly strained string inside Su Mengyao's body, with a sharp snap, broke into two pieces. She felt as if something was draining right out of her body. She was so unwilling to let it go, yet powerless to stop its disappearance. She could feel the blood under her skin gradually turning icy, freezing over, leaving only that stream of tears falling from the corner of her eyes, still holding a bit of warmth. Celebrating the new year during the peak of summer for the first time, both Zhao Yu and I found it quite novel. Zhao Yu's mother brought a lot of stuff over from back home, and the two of them were pasting couplets and paper cuts in the living room, watching the house looking all festive and full of joy. After so many years, I finally felt that holiday vibe again. Ever since my grandmother passed away, I had always spent New Year's Eve all by myself. Although Su Mengyao would come over to accompany me, it was usually before 8 p.m. after which the house would be left with just me alone. All I could feel was the exceptionally intense loneliness, magnified by the festive atmosphere of the outside world. I originally thought that once we got married in the new year, I could finally change this fate, but I never expected that the wedding wouldn't happen. Yet a new year with people accompanying me would come first. In the kitchen, Zhao Yu's mother, who had been busy cooking, brought out a plate of freshly fried meatballs and crispy pork. With a smile, she asked me to give it a taste, her tone full of care and affection. "Xiaoye, this is Zhao Yu's favorite dish." This new year was the most heartwarming one I had experienced in so many years. For the next 2 years, I spent all my New Year holidays in Australia. Every single year, Zhao Yu's parents would fly over to celebrate together. After spending so much time together, our relationship grew closer and closer. The year we graduated, the Zhao family settled down in Melbourne, and Zhao Yu asked me if I had any plans to stay for good. I had actually thought about this question for a long time. The close friends I had back home had already started their own families and got married, and I had long lost touch with my parents. I didn't own any property or assets there either. Whether in terms of personal relationships or my career focus, my life was leaning more towards staying here. So while looking for a job, I also started preparing my immigration paperwork. During that period, the Zhao family helped me out a lot, allowing me to get through the tough times. Back when I was studying, I relied on my outstanding skills to save up quite a bit of money. So after graduation, I opened a small photography studio. Over the next 2 years, the scale of the studio kept expanding, gradually making a name for itself. Once the 4-year mark was up, I met the immigration requirements and successfully obtained my permanent residency. When I returned home to handle the paperwork, I met up with the friends I hadn't seen in ages. Years had passed in a flash, time flew by, and everyone no longer looked like the youth they used to be. But as long as we gathered together, we could still instantly find that old feeling where we could talk about anything. The thing everyone cared about the most, without a doubt, was my love life. Facing everyone's enthusiastic gossiping, I acted completely open and natural about it. I dated 2 people during the first 2 years, but we broke up one after another due to various reasons. My current girlfriend, we got together in August last year. She's 2 years younger than me, but her personality is very mature. While sharing bits of our daily dating life, I also showed everyone our photos and videos, looking at the screen showing how affectionate and well-matched the 2 of us looked. Everyone showed a relieved expression. After chatting casually for quite a while longer, someone suddenly brought up Su Mengyao out of nowhere. Hey, have you guys heard? It seems Su Mengyao passed away. Hearing this, my heart gave a sudden jolt. Over the past few years, I had been so busy with my studies and work that I rarely asked about things back home. Occasionally, when chatting about the past with Zhao Yu, I always felt like that period of time was shrouded in a thick fog, making it hard to see clearly. And the name Su Mengyao had also become like a frozen old photograph, carrying a layer of yellowed old antiquity. I thought he would slowly let go of that relationship, inherit the family business, and start a brand new life on the distant opposite shore of the ocean. But I never expected that he had already passed away. The atmosphere in the room turned cold for a split second. Several people were carefully observing my mood. Seeing that I only showed shock, everyone's hanging hearts finally settled down, and they began to chat freely. I've actually heard about this matter too. Shaye, I originally wanted to tell you, but later felt that you had already moved on. So I didn't bring up this painful topic. What painful topic? I heard that he apparently tortured that guy surnamed Lu pretty badly and was stabbed to death by him in revenge. I guess you could call it reaping what he sowed. Since so much time had passed, I couldn't even remember what that man was called. Toward this person, the only single impression I had left was just that car accident that almost ruined me. Therefore, hearing that these 2 people who completely changed the trajectory of my life ended up with such a conclusion, I felt more or less a bit of sighing in my heart. Even if I was lost in thought for a moment, it was only for a brief split second. After all, those were all people and things from a very, very long time ago. Just like a gust of wind blowing through a hallway. Thank you for your constant companionship all this time.